These days, all you hear about the border is this.
This is a national emergency. We have to have a wall as part of border security.
But this is the U.S.-Mexico border, too. It's quiet here in Del Rio, Texas. But as the Rio Grande flows, so is more expected government money for border security. Because people are crossing.
They're all scratched up because they've walked through the brush for days. And I mean, literally, their arms are all cut up.
Silicon Valley companies are looking to cash in, building a different type of wall, a virtual border wall that could be a security solution that pleases both sides of the aisle.
And that's what's coming, guys. Not the big wall that Donald Trump was talking about back in, his first term of office from 2017 through January 2021. He's not talking about a wall like this. He was talking about the virtual wall that we just opened the segment with. Well, that was from 2019. And it said then that these virtual walls could be the cheaper and more effective answer to Trump's $5 billion border wall. So while the debate over Donald Trump's proposed wall continues, government money is flowing, and tech companies are looking to cash in. So this is what we weren't being told about. I mean, you had stories like this, but a lot of people weren't paying attention. Companies like Quant Energy and Anduril are working on electronic border solutions that would be more effective and cheaper for taxpayers than building a physical wall. Yes, and they can also check and see if you've got your digital identification and everything else to make sure that you are authorized to be in the country. See, that'll be coming too. They're just not telling us about it yet. But it'll be here. And these towers are going to be part of the solution. And these towers apparently have been popping up everywhere along the border, especially California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Well, of course, where all the problems are. So, gee, how are all these people getting in when we have all these surveillance towers and electronic borders going up? Well, it was all done on purpose, guys. You have to have a problem reaction solution. So the problem, of course, is all this illegal immigration that the Biden administration allowed to happen. And the reaction is everybody's upset and we need to do something about it, right? And so now here's your solution. Except it's going to require not just these surveillance towers and this virtual wall. It's also going to require digital identification and other things that are coming up soon. And like I said, they're just not telling you about it yet. So here we go. U.S. Customs and Border Protection, they're aggressively pursuing a virtual wall of border surveillance towers in the Southwest, according to the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is mapping the locations of each tower along America's southern border. They said we started creating our own map, and it became clear that this would be a useful resource for other people, including journalists, researchers, advocates, and humanitarian workers. That's Dave Mass, Director of Investigations at the Foundation, which is a nonprofit dedicated to protecting civil liberties in the digital age. Moss said the project began in 2022 when EFF was traveling across the border to document surveillance towers and realized there weren't any public maps of their locations. They found the towers not only in remote areas, but in neighborhoods and inhabited urban locations. EFF said in a previous statement that the digital surveillance at the U.S.-Mexico border doesn't just affect migrants, but all Americans who live within 100 miles of a land or sea border, putting them in the constant shadow of billions of dollars of privacy-invading technology. Yeah, just wait till the drones get deployed. Yeah, that are powered by AI. I'll show you that here in a second, too. Request for comment from CBP, that's the Border Patrol, on the operation of the towers and safeguards against their potential abuse were not immediately returned. Imagine that. The map so far pinpointing 352 towers in California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. Keep in mind, this is written in early 2023, so I'm sure there's a lot more by now. It depicts only a portion of what's installed and what's to come, and will be updated as new information becomes available. EFF is also concerned about the increasingly sophisticated surveillance systems that use artificial intelligence. Yep, that's right. EFF and said CBP is now placing smaller, AI-controlled surveillance towers along the border in southern Texas and parts of California that catalog images, and CBP is working to integrate its towers by different manufacturers into one program. Remember, this virtual wall, guys, isn't designed just to keep people out. It's designed to keep you in too. No escape. EFF said this map includes surveillance towers, both fixed and movable, adopted by the CBP over the last decade for several vendors: Elbit Systems of America, General Dynamics, Anduril Industries, and FLIR. They're pushing a new program called the Integrated Surveillance Program, which could bring the Elbit Systems and General Dynamics Systems and the Anduril Systems under one specific program within CBP. Well, yes, you have to centralize it, so that's what they're trying to do. Arizona was an early adopter of surveillance towers when the CBP program was launched in the 2000s. So most of the new towers are in neighboring states. It says Arizona was the starting point and then spending spiraled. Imagine that. It says Arizona was the starting point and then the spending spiraled. And so researchers in Arizona are among those who may benefit from this new map. And you can see all the towers that are located here now. Wow. And this one is supposedly updated through this fall, 2024. Sam Chambers, a researcher at the University of Arizona School of Geography, has analyzed the spatial and temporal patterns of border crossers and the mortality of those crossers in comparison to the border regulations and border surveillance that's already in place. It said before and after surveillance tech was installed, the location of human remains found have been in different places, Chambers said, explaining surveillance towers force migrants to take a different route, which is often more dangerous due to weather and geography. Each new development will multiply the harm and multiply the deadliness of the border. The increase in these surveillance technologies not only affects the border crossers, but the residents living in cities where the towers are located. So, according to the EFF's map, some cities and towns, including Nogales and Douglas, Arizona, and San Antonio, Texas, appear to have a concentration of surveillance technology, which of course brings up privacy concerns for Pedro Rios, director of the U.S.-Mexico Border Program for the American Friends and Service Committee. Towers in these areas pick up a lot of motion from people living their day-to-day lives, said Rios, adding motion detected from people leaving from work, walking their dog, or going to the mailbox could all be tracked by these surveillance technologies. He said, I think with any type of enforcement mechanism or tool, there have to be methods of ensuring accountability put in place and that there's an oversight on these mechanisms and transparency. It seems that these three things are missing, said Rios. Indeed. They said surveillance systems on the border collect endless data on U.S. citizens, and it is important that this data has a proper oversight mechanism to ensure that agencies are held accountable for any misuse and citizens' basic civil liberties. Well, they're not doing that. You can bet your bottom dollar that they're not doing that. So the border wall, the virtual wall, has been going up and is still going up as I'm speaking to you right now. And they look kind of like this. At least some of them do. In fact, I've seen these towers not too far from where we live here in Spokane. So what are they doing here? We're not next to the border. We're not within 100 miles of the border. They're putting these things up everywhere, guys. And that is going to be the virtual border wall that Trump's going to put in place. Or he's going to make it official, I should say. It's already pretty much put in place. But he's going to make it official as he gets ready to declare this national emergency on immigration. And he will employ the military to start mass deportations. And I imagine it'll be around that time that this border surveillance tower program, this virtual wall, becomes general public knowledge, which it already is. I mean, it's out here in the public eye, but it's just not being talked about. So once again, this is news they're not speaking about. So that's my job, is to bring this out and show it to you and what they're really doing versus what they say they're doing. So, but you can bet your bottom dollar, which isn't worth much anymore, that once this wall goes up, there will also be digital ID requirements and everything else for everyone in the United States, not just these migrants, because, we have to make sure you are who you say you are. And don't think Trump is going to stop any of this surveillance, guys. He's just putting more deep state swamp creatures back into the swamp. Look at Trump's pick for the FBI, for example. He loves the deep state and he wants to spy on you. Trump's new candidate for the FBI said, for the head of the FBI, said he loves the deep state and wants to spy on you. He loves surveilling American people without getting any warrants.
And I credit George Bush and his administration for assembling this new intelligence community. They passed the Patriot Bill that allows and takes the handcuffs off our intelligence services. Policymakers back here use words like illegal wiretap, the domestic surveillance program of the NSA. It could be abused. We're already seeing pressure on the Patriot Act that maybe we don't need it now. Couldn't be further from the truth. The bulk telephone metadata program is legal and effective. Provisions of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act expire at the end of this month. We need to rapidly reauthorize these provisions, and we need to work toward making these tools permanent as a part of our arsenal. Self-restriction, big problem in U.S. intelligence collection. We're the only intelligence service in the world that is forced to go to a court. But we always joked in the intelligence space, we would love to get 1/10 of what Google has on you. I supported these programs when they were classified, and I support these programs today.
And there he is, Trump's new candidate for the FBI. And he loves the deep state and wants to spy on you, and he loves all those programs that allow him to do so. And he wants to make them permanent. That's what his goal has been, and people like him. So if you think Trump's going to stop any of this surveillance, think again. He's just going to increase it. And along with getting his wall, which has been going up ever since he left office. Ever since he took office, it's been going up. But, it went up on steroids after the so-called last national emergency. And he's going to declare another one. It's just a matter of when. And it's just, maybe 2 months away. Well, that's it for now, guys. Just wanted to make you aware of all this border surveillance going on, which equals surveillance on you and me, and has really nothing to do with this national emergency on immigration. That was a problem that they created so they could get all of the surveillance put into place and require digital IDs for everybody, and it's all coming very soon. Are you ready? Wow. You better have Jesus Christ, because he's the way, the truth, and the life, and no one gets to the Father but through him. I say prayed up and prepped up just about every episode. And I say prayed up first because that's the best prep that you can make, being right with God. Make Jesus Christ your Lord and Savior today while there's still time, because time is very short. And don'tspeaknews.com is home base for all that we do. I put a lot of stories here that we can't put anywhere else because, they just won't let us speak about things like this right here. I can't even speak about right now because this will be on YouTube. So just saying, all kinds of news here that we can't speak about anywhere else. Over 2,500 stories now with pictures, videos, and everything. So if you want to find us on Rebel, BitChute, and Telegram, click this tab right up here. And all the links to find us are right here. And then if you want to support the channel, click on channel support. And I thank everyone who's done that here recently, because we just got some bills paid that were vital to keep us on the air. Without you guys, we don't stick around. So thank you very, very much for that. And especially for all of your prayers and well wishes. And if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, there's a way to do so at the bottom of every article that I put up. Or you can click on this tab. And then you can just type in your email here, click on subscribe, and you're in. And then here are the 2 emails to contact me, one at Yahoo and one at ProtonMail. And there we go. Don'tSpeakNews.com, home base for everything that we do. And that is it for now. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.